This video relates to the Maps widget. In Quincy there are lots of opportunities to be able to visualize data in different ways, whether that be graphs or charts or timelines, but we can also view data on a map. And this is particularly useful when we're dealing with things like EXIF information that comes from photographs, etc. So I want to be able to show you how this works. The example I'm going to use is using the demo case, which is the small case that is part of the Quincy installation and allows you to be able to test the features of the product before you use it in a live example. I'm going to first of all open the grid widget. And we can see that the case has opened and we can see all of the information that we want to see regarding the data that exists in the case. I now want to be able to identify all of the data that contains EXIF data, so that ultimately I can view that in a map view. I can open the map widget from the right hand side menu. And when I open the maps, what I can do is I can right click and I can get the location data. And by doing this, the map will request the information from the grid and from the case to identify the data that contains location information that we can visualize. And we can see that a filter is now running, and we can see that because of our grid filter icon at the top, and we can see that the number of our grid items is reduced to 69 items, and these are the items that contain EXIF data that can be visualized using the Maps widget. Now the Maps widget, we can zoom in and zoom out, and what we can see when we zoom out is that all of the locations from the photographs that exist in the case that contain EXIF data are now plotted as points on a map. And what this means is that we can now review these and we can identify the locations of these images without doing further work to resolve the longitude and latitude, etc. All of this will now be visualized for us. Let's bring in the viewer widget too, so that we can now see the image, the information regarding its times and dates, etc. in the file listing, and we can also visualize this in the maps too. What we can do is now, as we click on each image, we can see the viewer produces the image for us, and what we can see is that the map will now show us where this information is located, or where this picture and its EXIF data have been embedded into the photograph. And we can zoom in, and we can zoom in all the way down to be able to view that data, so that we can then see this on the map. And we can see the location information as we want to. And when we finish looking at this image, we can just zoom out again and we can go to the next image. And again, this is represented in not only a visual view, but also on the map. And this allows us to be able to take a closer look at the location data that exists in the case, as it might be pertinent to us, and it might be of interest to us if we have particular suspects and we need to be able to demonstrate and visualize and report how or where these suspects have been, and when we've pulled data from photographs or other data that exists in the case. We also have the ability to be able to take all of the photographs that contain EXIF data, or all of the objects that contain EXIF data, and play them. And what I mean by play them is that we can follow the creation times of the images and watch as they are created in the map, and almost run them through and play them through. And we do this using the play buttons that we can see just at the top here. So as we play, we can now see that the map is responding and telling us the series of images as they were created. And we can see in this example that they spread all over the world. But as the images are created and the EXIF data is being logged into the images, then we can follow the creation dates the information is coming through to us in the grid, and we can also view the images as they appear in the viewer. And at any time we can stop this or pause this using the buttons, just like this. And this is a great way to be able to demonstrate in a report a little bit more than just the image itself, but also this visual representation of where these images reside. We can also change the colour of the spots or dots if we want to. We can change the size of the data, the spots I should say, and we can change the shape. If we want to revert back to looking at all of the EXIF images again, then we can simply just remove the filter. And that will give us all of the information again. And as we can see, that's now plotted in the map. There are some right-click options, and we've discussed one of them already, being the Get Location Data. What we can also do is we can print information to a PDF if we wanted to add this to a report or statement outside of the Quincy reports, and we can do that, and then that will produce a PDF for us that we can then use in our reports. We also have the ability to send this image out to a report, so that ultimately when we create this at the end of our case and we create our reports, we can add this information in there. What we can also do is show altitude. And this is an interesting thing, because what this allows us to do is allows us, when we're using something like drone data, and if we're able to not only get the longitude and latitude of images, of data, it might be that we can also add the altitude as well. And by doing so, we can then show the altitude on the graph, and as we play through the images, we can watch the flight path and the altitude of something like a drone. Thank you for watching this video. I hope you take full advantage of using the Maps widget. Please make sure that you visit the other videos at quincyforensics.com.